Hey, True Believers. Chris Matt coming at you with DCeased Dead Planet #1. And I didn't know how to feel about this book, so we just wrapped up Unkillables. I kind of feel, this is just my personal opinion, that they should have maybe waited like a year or so, but I'm sure they're probably just jumping on the bandwagon of everyone really starting to kind of see the scope of the story. And I have a funny feeling that Tom Taylor's going to kind of do what he did with Injustice, where there was the Injustice and there was Injustice Year 1, 2, and there was like this big thing where it kind of got so massive in scope that if you want to go back and read it now, it's a little overwhelming. So I have a funny feeling that DCeased here is going to get the same way, which I kind of wish I would have read the original story arc, but at the time I was just so burned out on zombies, I couldn't see straight. But Unkillables fixed that, and this is actually really good, because this, again, does not focus on the zombie aspect, even though a lot of the covers are like this, which I wish I would have got the Blade Runner variant, but I did not see it, so it's like, ah. But anyway, now for $6, the cover price is a little pricey, but with that said, before we get into the book, I will say this. With everything that's been going on the last, what is it now, March, April, May, June, July, almost, 5 months now since March, right? Anyway, and they did the pencils down, and Marvel kind of stopped releasing product, and a lot of places did, and Diamond stopped distributing. I like that DC finally kind of found a way to start releasing, at the time, releasing their own stuff, where they took a lot of the short stories out of the Walmart magazines. You know how they have those thick 100-page magazines at Walmart, and they redistributed them as digital comics, and like the first issues I think were free, and that's where we came across Venditti's Man of Tomorrow, which was a really good comic book. And so I really will give props. So it's $6. I can kind of understand why DC has to maybe kind of jack the prices up, because they're kind of distributing their own stuff in a sense now, instead of going through Diamond, the old traditional direct market way. So props on that. I can't complain too much. But with that said, this was an interesting read. So DCeased Dead Planet. At first, when I opened this, we started getting the recap of how everything happened, because I did read DCeased #1, so that's kind of how I know the baseline of everything. But we're going to go ahead and kind of jump past a lot of that, and we get this moment with Survivor's Guilt, and lo and behold, it's John Constantine. Now, what's kind of interesting is he's sitting here drinking alone, and they said that he's like the model of Survivor's Guilt. And, Zatanna's telling John, he's like, you can't sit here drinking alone. And I love how he's just like, I'm not alone, Z. And he's sitting there drinking with the ashes of dead friends. So we see Barda, Mr. Miracle, Mr. Terrific, Blue Beetle, and Booster Gold. So I have a funny feeling this is going to go somewhere. And what I want to kind of touch on this is, if you guys haven't seen the new, DC movie, what is it called? The Justice League Dark Apocalypse Wars. Good movie. But yeah, this kind of reminds me of that. I mean, they're kind of modeling that, but this is in a different aspect. As we're in the movie, John's drinking for a different reason. Which, if you want to know why, again, go see the movie. But yeah, this just reminded me right off the bat, which is really cool. I like that they kind of implemented that and why he's doing that. But we're going to go ahead and skip past that. And now there's a reason why we skip to Earth 2. Something happens, which I don't want to ruin. And at first I thought, when I saw this was Earth 2, I thought that we were actually going to be dealing with like alternate characters, kind of like how, like Earth 2, I think traditionally is the crime syndicate. And now this is where I'm a little confused, because I didn't read the rest of DCeased. Like I said, I only read issue 1. So let me know down in the comments, this Earth 2. Is this in the same, 616 universe, or is this in another dimension? Because what you find out here, that this is actually John Kent from, wow, did I actually say Earth 616? Marvel reference? I guess you'd say Earth Prime. But anyway, this is John Kent from the main universe. So this is Superman and Lois's son. And they're in the middle of kind of an intergalactic battle. And the artwork right here is gorgeous. Speaking of art, let's talk about who made this book. This is written by Tom Taylor, pencils by Trevor Hairshine, inks by Gigi, and again, if I do your name wrong, I'm so sorry. It's either Gigi or Gigi Baldassini and Stefano Guadagno. Colors by Rain Burrito. Letters by Saidia Timo Fontaine. And then here's everyone else working on the book. But yeah, great work on the art team's side here. Just seeing the scope, and then you see Superman blaring in. And then what I really like too is after that you kind of realize that this Batman here, this is not Bruce Wayne. This is Damian. So from what I remember in reading DCeased #1 is, Superman kind of left John and Damian with Lois, I think it was. And I guess the superheroes eventually left Earth. That's where I kind of dipped out at the time. And so they came to this planet that was kind of it was in the same solar system as these aliens that they're fighting right now. And they try to set up shop. And John's telling Batman here not to fight any of these aliens because they're trying to do peace talks because they want to try to coexist in this same universe. And what I love is Damian here is like, we took our time because we're trying extra hard not to accidentally squash you. This isn't even a war. It's not even a fight. I'll give you a fight. Sure. Do you have a spleen? And I like how John just, okay, let's just hold it right there. Your Majesty, this has all been a big misunderstanding. One we can resolve with words. And so, peace talks. And you come to find out this right here. I had to stop and think about this because she goes, I'm Lois Lane, president of Earth 2. And I was like, wait, is this an alternate Lois? But no, this is Earth Prime Lois trying to, what's it called? So I have not had enough coffee. But yeah, trying to set up peace talks with this other alien race so they can coexist in harmony. Now, remember how I said there's a distress signal that comes from the other Earth? Well, Alfred, which I'm glad to see, is alive here compared to, Batman 72, Alan King. Anyway, they decipher it and they talk about who it is coming from, which again, I'm trying not to spoil. And everyone starts to have a vote on, should we go back to that Earth? Because we have a nice place where we are now. But what I like is everyone says, they voted on if they should go save a friend. And the vote was unanimous to go. So the whole team, they have this, wonderful world that they were able to refugee to. And yet, because Vic Stone is a friend and a teammate, they want to sacrifice everything to go back and save a friend. So that's really cool. And then Lois here is saying, come back, we've lost enough Superman. I'm not really comfortable with that name, Mom. And I love how she looks at him, she goes, well then stop earning it. So that's a really sweet moment between mother and son because obviously Superman, something happened. And then we get some really fun quirkiness between Dinah, Black Canary, and Oliver Queen, Green Arrow. Now, I need to see, let me know what issue she became a Green Lantern, because that's pretty cool to see, the Black Canary is also a Green Lantern. That, for me, is like, yes. This is where I kind of really like these Elseworld stories, because you can take the status quo and shake it up. So you can see, Black Canary as a Green Lantern. You can see Damian as Batman, and it really just kind of helps break up the everyday mundaneness, because in the main continuity you really don't want to shake it up that much, because then fans are going to be like, hey, wait a minute, you know what I mean? And so I guess they go back to the border where the Green Lanterns are monitoring this dead Earth, and there's supposed to be some sort of proximity alert, smashing through the planet. And I thought about not spoiling this, but I thought this was sweet, because all of a sudden they're like, oh God, get down, watch out. And what you come to find out is it's Crypto. And you just see how rapidly his tail is shaking to see that that's John. So that was just a very, very sweet moment, and kind of hits you in the feels. Now I'm going to skip a couple more pages, because again, I don't want to spoil everything that's happening. That's definitely a spoiler page, gentlemen. But needless to say, as you can see Black Canary here going nuts. And just like in Unkillables, you see that who the protagonist is going to be, which just, man, Diana is just really ripping things up. So yeah, they had this big, awesome fight with Wonder Woman. And the last thing I do want to show is John comes running at Dinah. I always forget how to pronounce that. And he goes, "Don't. We can save her. We can." And then something interesting happens on the next page. So yeah, at first I was like, oh boy, another DCeased tie-in. But I can kind of appreciate where Tom Taylor is going with this issue. Because again, it doesn't feel like we're really rehashing the same ground here, where again, just like with Unkillables, the zombies are kind of more used as a plot device instead of the main focus. And so it doesn't really feel like it's all up in your face, where, I'm sure a lot of us have that zombie burned outness of the last few years, like I'm sad, but Z Nation and The Walking Dead really, I think, kind of did us all in terms of zombies. So again, what makes this interesting is the human element, the heartfelt moments, because then it makes things, as the beats happen, it makes you care about what's going on, and it makes you want to see these heroes get the Earth Prime back. So I'm on board. I just hope it's not like 12 issues. I hope it's maybe like 3 or 4 like Unkillables was. But with that said, if you guys have enjoyed this comic book, please make sure to first and foremost support your local comic shop. And if you can, they have a Blade Runner variant, and it looks so awesome. And if I can find one, I'm definitely getting it. And if you guys have enjoyed this review, we'd really appreciate it if you hit like, share, and subscribe. It helps the club channel more than you can possibly know. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that fancy little bat bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys will get notified. You can come to the channel, and we'd love to hear your feedback and have a dialogue with y'all down in the comments below, or on our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description below. So with all that said, I hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.